Packets are chunks of data that are used in networking to send information from one computer to another. Packets often conform to a standard. In this case, the header of the packet in gray contains the source, the destination, the number of parts in this message, the part number that this package is, the length of the payload inside this package, and a checksum to make sure that the package was sent without corruption. In this lab, we have received a number of packets sent from various sources to various destinations, and it is our job to assemble these packets into messages. This is an example of a packet that we have received. From looking at the hex representation, we can see that the source is C, the destination is 1, the number of parts is 4C, the part number of this packet is 17, the length of the payload in the payload space of this packet is 1E, and the checksum is 73. Next, looking at the right side, we can see the ASCII representation of the payload space, which contains words as I mentioned before. Here's the code that I have written to parse these messages. The create packets function creates a list of packets from a directory. It traverses the directory to find all the packets and appends them to a list, then returns it. A packet is a class that I have created to store information about each packet. Next, we check for corrupted packets by looping over each packet and verifying it with its checksum. After this, I call the function assemble packets, which is defined in another file, in order to assemble these packets into messages. To assemble these packets into messages, I created a function called assemble packets, which takes in a list of packets. I also created a class called message assembler, which takes in packets one by one and stores them in a dictionary. The keys in this dictionary is the packet source and destination. This is so that each specific combination of source and destination has its own entry in this dictionary. And every time a packet is added using the add packet method, the message assembler adds it to the dictionary entry of its source and destination, assembling each message into an array of parts. To get these messages, the message assembler returns a message for each entry in the dictionary. A message is also a class that stores information about each message, including its source, destination, segments, and content, so later I can access them easily through variables. Lastly, the messages are logged into files using the log messages method, which essentially creates a file for each message and writes the information about the message into these files. Here are the outputs of the code. Here's an example of a corrupt packet, and here is an example of an assembled message.